Okay, so we're talking about water, and we've established the fact that water is key. Water is extremely important. So joining the conversation is the Honorable Minister for Water Resources, Engineer Professor Joseph Terlumun Utsev. Thelma had a chat with him earlier. Let's see this.
As we talk about the availability of water in Nigeria, it's a privilege and honor to have a chat with the Honorable Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Engineer Professor Joseph Terlumun. It's great to have this chat with you, sir.
You're welcome.
Availability of water, everyone is talking about it. But first off, let's talk about water and its significance in life and for those who are living.
Water is life. And water is very critical in every facet of our life. Water management is a critical aspect of the country's development because water is being needed in the sustenance of agriculture in Nigeria, in the provision of clean drinking water, also in the support of industrial activities. It also helps in the ecological balance of our environment. The Federal Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation is saddled with the responsibility of managing water resources in Nigeria at the national level. However, the subnational is being needed, and we are calling on the state government and the local government to also key in enhancing that participation in Nigeria.
Without doubt, I'm sure that the state governors and other key actors at the state level will contribute their own quota to national development. When we heard that you were appointed Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, many Nigerians heaved a sigh of relief because of your antecedent. First, as Commissioner in Benue State, Water Resources and Environment, and then again as Executive Director, Engineering at the Lower Benue River Basin Development Authority, where we know you performed optimally. So now, we are waiting keenly to see how you hit the ground running. We do hear, according to the World Health Organization, that 70 million Nigerians don't have access to clean water, and 114 million people in Nigeria don't have access to sanitation facilities. Is that a fact? And if it is, what is being done?
Let me first of all address the water sector. We all know that water is very, very important. And before the coming in of the present administration, about 67% had access to clean water supply services. The Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration, as we came on board, for 2024 appropriation, adequate funds has been approved by Mr. President for the provision of water facilities for Nigerians, because he has promised in his own dividends of democracy to Nigerians that he will make available the basic amenities for Nigerians. And in that drive, he has approved funds for the provision of adequate water for Nigerians. And we, as a Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, we have put in place all the mechanisms to implement the promises that Mr. President have made for Nigerians. And we are believing that by the end of the year 2024, about 80% of Nigerians will have adequate water supply as it's being approved. When we talk about open defecation, before the coming in of the present administration, about 105 local governments, we are open defecation free. Now, as we are speaking, we have 117 local governments that we are open defecation free. And we have put all the measures in place. Immediately we came on board, I summoned all the 12 river basins which are within our purview, and they cover the whole 36 states of the Federation, including FCT. I called their management for a meeting that the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President must be achieved. When we are talking about food security, we are talking about job creation, we are talking about economic growth. Our ministry is very key in the provision of this basic mandate. And because of that, we gave them the directive that they should go back to their various geopolitical areas within their own cycles and look at what they can do in a different way to improve not only the water supply component that Nigerians are yielding for. They also try to see how we can improve the open defecation-free status of Nigeria. We didn't stop at that. We backed that up in going around all the 12 river basins in Nigeria. We take a tour to see how what they are doing and how we can improve from that. We make sure that budgetary provision for 2024 captures the mandate of this present administration. So, as we are talking now, we have mapped up, our staffs have gone around all the 33 states to identify, because some states governors have written to us that yes, some local governments within their states have attained a status of open defecation free. So we are arranging now to visit those states to ascertain the level of the attainment of that status before we can now declare them open defecation free. And the campaign for Clean Nigerian program that is ongoing, we are leaving no stone unturned. We have visited the Traditional Council institution. We have also visited the state governments. We are now going down to the local governments and the individual settlements and associations. We are also engaging different ministries. We have been liaising with the Ministry of Youth. We are also liaising with the Ministry of Women Affairs. Because when you are talking about the effects of open defecation, it affects mostly women and girls. So we are bringing on board the Ministry of Women Affairs and then the Ministry of Youth to also to key into this project to see how collectively we can work to attain that 2025 target of Nigeria attaining open defecation free status.
Honorable Minister, sir, you have a master's degree and a PhD in civil engineering, so that's water engineering. Many are talking about the fact that when we want to do engineering here with regard to water, oftentimes we get artisans from out of the country. Being a pioneer rector for the Federal Polytechnic in Benue State, how are you situating students in Polytechnic and University to ensure that they also study water engineering as well as civil engineering so that they can contribute their own quota to national development and our growth as a nation?
Before I became the Honorable Commissioner for Water Resources and Environment in Benue State, I lectured with the Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, Benue State, where I was the Director, Center for Entrepreneurship from the university. Under my leadership, I established about 7 workshops in the civil, that is production of capstones, blocks. We established a workshop in the catering section, in the tailoring section, and other sections. And the aim of establishing these workshops was for training of students and the public, both in the artisans and in the entrepreneurship sector. So that question you ask is very clear. With time, the manpower of Nigeria will be enhanced, because in the area of civil engineering, where we have studied and have trained people up to degree level, up to doctorate level, we have actually trained students. As I'm talking now, some of my students are in the industry. Some of them are here in FCT, building bridges, buildings, and other infrastructures, both for FCT and other parts of the country. So they are doing very well. And not alone. In the water sector, we also have a lot of students. Some of the designs that we carry out are done by my students. And we believe that with more of this coming up, Nigeria will be a better place.
We do hope you take a national outlook in the nearest future to see that what you have done in Benue will be replicated nationwide.
Yes.
Okay, I also understand that the former Minister for Water Resources has implemented a roadmap for water, 2016 to 2030, 6 years to go. Where are we now?
We have different programs that are in place, that the implementation is ongoing. We have the PWASH program, that is Partnership for Expanded Water, Sanitation and Hygiene. This program targeted majorly the rural community, provision of water in the rural community. About 67% of Nigerians have access to adequate water supply. What are we doing? We have not extended this into the rural dwellers, because they are the major people that lacks this particular amenity, clean water. Yes, the urban also are part of it, and because of that, we have another program that we call the Subwash. The Subwash also targets both the urban and the rural dwellers. And as we are looking at it now, what is actually the challenge in the urban setting? A lot of people have migrated from the rural to the urban, maybe in search of greener pasture, or maybe in search of social amenities. So we send our staff to go there to see and take statistics of what is actually the problem and what is the demand. What is the required water requirement? What did they find? They have found out that yet in certain particular cities, there is actually population growth. And because of that, we have taken that into consideration for the 2024 budget that we have prepared. And its implementation, we are believing that that problem will be solved. So the Renew Hope agenda that Mr. President has for Nigerians, and by graciously approving the funds that we have now, we are believing that that problem is completely solved.
Interesting. What a welcome development. Some say we are over 200 million people. Some are saying 220. And some research is also thrusting up some more information that in another 10, 20 years, we could be double this number. People are calling for proactive measures, for innovation, for diversity. What new innovations are you bringing to the table to ensure that we don't go back to the challenges we experienced before?
We are, at the moment now, we have prioritized the demands of Nigerians and what is going to be our challenge in the nearest future. We are taking cognizance of that. And because of that, we have earmarked some places. We are identifying some places in Nigeria where we can come up with some dams. These dams, one, they will help in different phases. One of the importance of dams is, one, the flooding that has been taking place in the country. We are bringing up some dams that can contain this excess water that causes damage as a result of the flooding. The second issue is that the dams are going to be used for irrigation. Last year in November, we flagged up the 2023-2024 irrigation, dry season farming across the whole country. And we did that. Why? The reason is that agriculture, which is one of the backbone of Nigerian economy, cannot be sustained without water. So we are trying to see how we can provide water to sustain that agriculture. That water that will boost the food production. If there is enough food for our domestic consumption and export, that will also help our productivity. Because they say a healthy nation is a wealthy nation. It's only when you get filled and you are healthy that you can also produce well. That will enhance the productivity of the citizens of Nigeria. And when the productivity is being enhanced, that will also enhance the economy of the nation. So these dams will now come up now. We have challenge of climate resilience, climate change. We are coming up with new innovations, trying to see how we can change from the combustion energy production to solar-powered engines. So you can see that even in our dams now, we are bringing in the solar components into our dam, trying to see how the turbines can also be powered. As the water drives now from the dams, powers our turbines. Let's try to see how we can now also convert this in to create the solar energy aspect of it, that we can now send them to our farms. By using them to irrigate our farms, we use them to also power our tractors, our machineries that are into food production. So that by doing that, we can also create jobs for our teeming population, which is one of the priorities of the present administration, job creation. Because we know that when jobs are being created and more people are being engaged into productivity, it will also solve the issue of insecurity. Because most times when people are idle, it gingers them into some acts that are not too wise for the country. So these are some of the innovations we are bringing on board to see how it will not only solve the immediate challenge that we're having now, but for future enhancement.
That sounds very encouraging.
Yes.
Nigerians will be very, very happy to hear all of what you have said. And we are hopeful because in times past, we've had very interesting and amazing proposals and talk that encourage people. And then when it was time to action it out, we saw little or nothing. But we do know that this time will be different, Honorable Minister.
This administration is not a talking administration. It's a doing administration. We have said it. Our priorities has been marked. By the end of the year 2024, the statistics that are made available now are going to change. We have 117 local governments that are open defecation free. By the end of 2024, we're not talking about 2025 yet. By the end of 2024, we are all going to see the statistics that we will bring on board for local government that are open defecation free. We are now saying 67% of Nigerians have access to clean water. We are saying by the end of 2024, we're not talking about the end of this administration. We're talking about the end of 2024. The statistics will definitely change. That is where Nigerians will hold us by our words. That is what we are saying.
That's very good to know. We are watching, we are waiting, we're hopeful. Thank you for this chat, Honorable Minister for Water Resources and Sanitation, Engineer Professor Joseph Terlumun Utsev.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's very interesting. My takeaway is the fact that he said something about building the water infrastructure in order to create jobs for Nigeria. I mean, that's my takeaway. And like Thelma said, we are watching and we are hoping that one day it will become a reality in our country, Nigeria.